Gonna start from now. What's going on, Lam? What's going on, Lam? Welcome
What?
to.
Good to see you, Steve. How you doing?
I'm great. I'm great. How are you doing today, sir? How are you doing today?
Busy, but all good, all good. I'm, I'm kind of itching to play City of the Wolves demo
Nice,
that
nice,
just
nice.
came out today. But yeah, we'll can do that later.
Yeah, we'll get to that. But yeah, so I say, if you guys are still with us, thank you. But yeah, like obviously, as I say, Lam is one of the co-founders of Electronic Dojo. As I said, one of the four kings essentially of Dojo. You know, the kings being C, Jason, and of course Justin. Even though I don't want to call him a king, but you know, like in the dojo law, as it were. Shout outs to him. But yeah, man, we've been
Shout
delayed.
out to Justin. He's done a lot. Obviously,
Yeah.
Since I moved on, he's done a lot, and it's hard. So shout out to him. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, shout outs to always, man. So yeah, man, let's just get into it. I'm trying to so I guess first people want to know just know about yourself, just like just who are you?
So everyone knows me. I'm Lom. I've been playing, I don't know, fighting games since God knows when, really. Probably pre Street Fighter 2.
Yeah.
If you're going really far back, all the way back to like Yi Kung Fu and shit like that. But I think I started playing properly since like Street Fighter 2 in the arcade, really. And I sort of, because I'm OG, that's how I got into it. Used to go down to the arcades after work and stuff like that, after school. It was all about Street Fighter at the time. Really. So got into it from there. And I think with the sort of move on, fast forwarding on to other stuff and consoles and things, I used to be really into it. So obviously Killer Instinct when it first came out and all the actual arcade stuff. But I think it wasn't until later on down the line, fast forwarding to sort of PlayStation 2 era, where you had Soul Calibur and stuff like this, and then the crop up of internet forums and stuff, especially things like Neo Empire, etc. That when obviously Tekken Zaibatsu has been going on for ages as well, so people know about that, and I think that's where I started getting into it a bit more and learning a bit more about fighting games and stuff. But there was still no actual fighting game scene or community as such back then. You had your little groups and things, and I think especially with Neo Empire, everything seemed to have been centralized down in London.
Yes.
Back in the day when I used to live in London as well, I used to go to Casino Arcade, and that's where Ryan Hart used to play and stuff like that. And it used to, everyone was round. Like you'd go downstairs in the Casino Arcade, and there was like basically the Tekken Tag 2 arcade machine, and Tekken 3 and stuff. And I used to. That's where I sort of started playing a bit more serious, because back then in the arcades, I think most of the better players were in London, since they had arcades like the Big Trocadero, the Play to Wins, the Casino, and things like that. And that's sort of where I come from, really. Wasn't until much later on, going into, as I said, the console era, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, where it was more home gaming and stuff. You kind of like start playing and more with your mates locally rather than having to go to an arcade, really. So
So I guess going back a little bit, what was it that was that kind of the spark that decided for you to kind of try and cultivate a scene in your local area that there wasn't one there? Because obviously, as you say, you went down to obviously in London, Trocadero, they had all the arcades and things and that. What was the spark that kind of got you to the point where it's like you kind of because were you playing with your own friends, like obviously, because I think in some of the previous like episodes, people have always said, we had our small circles first because there was no scene, and then there was a place where we all could kind of play. Was that the kind of thing?
I think for me, it was a bit different because yes, you had your I used to go to the arcade with my mates and stuff, sort of after school and after work, and it was just one or two. But as I said, it wasn't until much later on where sort of the whole community thing kind of started, and I think it's a little bit different with me because I don't want to sound like, how can I put it, sort of arrogant or anything, but I guess I was just right person at the right time at the right place. That sort of triggered off everything, and that was sort of around the era of like when we had, I don't know if people remember, but Omega Sector.
Rest in peace.
Yeah,
Omega Sector, man. Rest in peace, Omega Sector, man.
So basically, with Omega Sector, and this is where C was, and this is where I met a DNA Jason as well.
Yeah. So was it pretty much, so sorry to cut in, so was it like so that's generally how you met them, pretty much through Omega Sector, basically?
Yeah. Okay. That was basically sort of the starting point for a lot of things. Really. And I think that was the definite starting point of the whole fight scene outside London.
Yeah.
Definitely the starting point of Electronic Dojo, because
100%. So I guess, how did it like come about? Because were they working there, or were you, or did you meet them as you like
Steve was working there.
Okay.
I used to just go there and play games. And, they had a couple of PlayStation 3s and whatnot there, but they didn't really have any fighting games. It was all just like, a lot of PC stuff. I think one of the days I said, like, is it okay if I brought in my setup because you don't have Tekken?
Yeah.
And I just, like, the guy, because I went there a lot, the guys were like, yeah, sure, why not, set it up. So I set it up, and then it's like I was playing Tekken, then other people started playing and things like this and joining in, and then it's like, oh, there's fighting games here as well.
Yeah.
So that's how that started, and the whole phrase of like the Electronic Dojo was during forums when we were talking about it, and like, people wanted to go and play fighting games and train and stuff and get better. And so on the forums I was like writing, well, this would, if we made something, then, and people would come to it and train and learn and want to play fighting games, then it would be like a Electronic Dojo. So that's where that came.
Nice.
Yeah. And I think a short while after that, Jason ran which I bumped into later on and helped him arrange one of the Soul Calibur tournaments, one of the first Soul Calibur tournaments at Omega Sector, and that's when we started talking and collaborating a bit more. So going from there, we started thinking, okay, let's. There seems to be some scene for this. Yeah. So we continued. Then it kind of just passed word of mouth those days, because you don't have WhatsApp and all the rest of it.
Exactly. There's so much things that we didn't have.
It literally just was all word of mouth.
Yeah.
And I think it was going really well, because there would be a load of regular people and stuff.
So you were getting like consistent numbers at that time as well, like just based on people obviously finding out through word of mouth and things. That's
right. So then we started getting consistent numbers, and then unfortunately, a short while after that, Omega Sector closed down.
Yeah, again, rest in peace, Omega Sector, man. It was way ahead of its time, man. It was way ahead of its time, and like I think, into the way that esports and gaming and things and stuff has blown up now, something like that would just be like perfect in terms of the setup, because
absolutely, but absolutely, as you say, it was ahead of its time,
way ahead of its time. Because I think the way, again, talking about like Neo Empire forums, I think that's how I found out about Omega Sector, because obviously I was floating. I don't even know how I found Neo Empire, but that was the place to be at the time.
Yeah,
to find out about like scenes and games and stuff. So I remember.
Well, I think with Omega Sector as well, it's because there was really nothing else in Birmingham. Unlike London, where you have like loads of arcades in that era, as I said, like you had the Trocadero, you had you had the Namco arcades like Namco Station, Namco Wonder Park, and all that. Were, really good places to go and stuff. But unless you lived in London, you really had to do a bit of traveling just to play games. Being Omega Sector in Birmingham, I think that brought together a lot of people in the Midlands sort of community.
100%. 100%. Shout out, Ossie said it. He needs your thoughts on Monster Hunter Wilds.
My thoughts on Wilds. My thoughts on the frame rates are rubbish, regardless of your setup. I've not played it enough at the moment. I did have a go in the beta, and looking at the weapons and things. I think the bow's going to get nerfed quite easily because I'm not a bow user, but the strong weapons, it's still sort of longsword, greatsword, bow guns, and then I'm not really a niche player with like the insect glaive and things like that, or the hammer and I did try to use dual blades before. But I think I just prefer sort of the great sword for that,
Cool. Okay, I'm cutting this now. This is not Monster Hunter Wilds. This is not Monster Hunter Wilds. I'm cutting this now. So yeah, as I said, obviously with like Omega Sector, like I think I found out about it through like Neo Empire stuff, and I think I went a couple times like with Alex, and then we met you guys and whatever. And I think one of the first, like I guess you could say it was a major at the time that I went to was Osplay 2. I think that was the first one, and I'm sure after that, not long after that, the venue had closed down. So how, obviously you're getting like your regular locals and stuff. How do you get to the point where you say, okay, we want to do something bigger? Because I'd assume you obviously did the Osplay one as well. Was that the specific Soul Calibur one, or?
I actually I did really like Soul Calibur 1 or Soul Edge, however you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I did really like that series, but it wasn't until like number 2 that I actually got serious about playing something a bit, a bit more
seriously.
I back at that time, I did actually go to the Club Sega back in Japan in Akihabara.
Oh, nice.
I joined up with a couple of other people that were on sort of the Soul Calibur forums and that were in Japan back then, and I was sort of went over there and took a trip over there, and it was met up with them, played games, and funnily enough, I was expecting to get absolutely bodied, but it was the other way around.
Okay. You went over there and it took some heads basically.
Yeah. Which kind of surprised me, but there was all that. Going back to like the club and everything, though, once Omega Sector closed down, we had like a big group of people who still wanted to play games, and I was like, well, what can we do? So I sort of took it upon myself, looked around for a place, which was Global Gaming.
Shout out Global Gaming. Shout out Derek.
Yeah. So
how was that process? How was that process in terms of, obviously, Omega Sector shut down now, and you've cultivated a group of players that come regularly, because I'd say I know I came there pretty much every week for ages and was playing like Hokuto Ken and all those kind of stuff and whatever. Obviously you've got to that point, but so then was it just a case of, okay, I'm just gonna have to find another venue pretty much, like?
Well, it was more of a case of like, well, I want this to continue, but it can't be an Omega Sector anymore. So, I thought rather than letting everything die out, I took it upon myself to say, okay, let's see if we can start something up somewhere else. So I went over to Global Gaming, had a chat with them, started it up there, and then and from there, the regulars came, and then it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it wasn't until the Street Fighter 4 ranking battles.
Oh, classic Grandbats. Classic Grandbats.
Street Fighter 4 Vanilla had just been released.
Yeah.
And we started to do the rank bats and stuff. And then, that's when Justin came up. Young, went behind the ears, Justin.
I remember because again, I was here before Justin, and I remember one of the first things he said, "Are you scared of no Abel?"
Yeah.
I'll never forget.
And I think it just grew from there. Really?
Yeah. I think that was probably like the boom period, if you were, like, because I think obviously at Mega Sector there's still a lot of people going there and stuff, but I think I don't know what it was about GTA, and I think maybe again probably Street Fighter 4 coming out, to be fair, because that brought a boom to like the fighting game scene in general.
And it really did. It really did bring a lot more people to new blood, as you say, to the whole scene, especially in Birmingham. I mean, you had people coming from further afield as well, just to play, in the rank bats and Street Fighter 4 and stuff. So it sort of really started to really kick off there, and then we did I think one of the best tournaments we did.
Double Beatdown.
No. It was the Tekken 6 tournament, and we had it. There was that many people. We ended up having to have it done.
Yeah, that's the one, because it was Guilty Gear was on the inside and Tekken was on the outside. You're right. The maddest. Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But yeah, obviously you see and DNA now of like, you've cultivated the scene and we're doing like regular Rambats and things like that. So was it just more of a collaboration thing between you three, saying like, what can we do next to kind of elevate the scene? What can we do next, kind of things? Or how did you take up yourself to kind of just do that?
I don't think it was. I think it just kind of like snowballed itself more than anything. So we started doing the rank bats because we did say like, okay, we need to do something aside from the just the regular sessions and playing everything like that used to come from my personal library.
Yeah. There was a lot. Yeah. And that's the thing. I'd bring a couple games. I remember I used to bring again Hokuto Ken, Sengoku Busan.
Yeah.
I was the 2D head, because at that time, like, I think
CBS2 and all the rest of them.
Yeah, because before Street Fighter 4 came out, for me coming in, it felt like, it was 3D Central, because it was Soul Calibur, it was Tekken, it was Dead or Alive got some players out. Shout outs to Padaman, and it's like
shout outs to Padaman.
Yeah, it was like that was the scene, and I felt at the time I was one of the outliers that played. Obviously, everyone still kind of played the 2D games, but it was very Tekken centric at that time. And then I think like Street Fighter 4 came out, and although Tekken was still there, again, it just kind of brought a boom, and everyone was coming along.
Yeah, I think so. Aside from Electronic Dojo and like the sort of regular rank bats and stuff, when we started looking at tournaments as such, I might have got my timeline a bit wrong because it's been so long ago now. But one of the other things that spurred me to do with a tournament was someone else wanted to run a tournament in Wolverhampton.
Okay.
I think it was Mobeen.
Okay.
And it didn't actually go that well. So I thought, and it's one that I went to, and it's like everything organization wise was just wrong.
Yeah.
So setups weren't there. People, the venue wasn't actually properly sorted out. So we just ended up, a bunch of us just ended up playing games in student halls. And thought, we can do better than this. We can do better than this.
So it's something that happened, and that kind of spurred you on to say, okay, let's do something like bigger.
Yeah, that's right. And we knew we had to get funds first. So it was a case of building up funds from Electronic Dojo and stuff, so that we can access a proper venue and things like that. And what I haven't mentioned is that before the whole Electronic Dojo and everything, I used to be sort of quite in with the anime scene back then, and I helped organize a lot of the sort of UK anime conventions
Okay, nice. Didn't even know.
So with that kind of, with my past experience of helping and running larger
organizing events
conventions and shows and stuff,
yeah,
that's when we like, okay, so what do we need? Let's look at a viable venue, etc., etc. And yeah, the first one was the Irish Centre.
Yes, VSFighting one shots. So just quick second, Ossie said, "Wait, didn't you and Lam have an art battle?" And we did, and I remember this. It was a grudge match on Street Fighter Alpha 3. It was Relento. I was Relento versus somebody. I can't remember what character to use. It was first to 5. And then
I don't know if it was this one or not.
It was. I can't believe you've got it right there. I can't believe you actually got it there on the shelf. I'm upset right now. I'm absolutely upset. Yeah, I don't even know how it came about, but I was talking trash, and then like Relento got bodied still.
Yeah, I have no idea. I can't remember myself, but anyway, we said, right, okay, then let's put money where mouth is, or art books where mouth is, because we both had quite a collection of art books.
Yeah, as you can see, I still collect art books and stuff. So yeah.
Yeah, you can see and stuff. So it's like, okay, then let's put some art books on the line, and
the good times, man. Good times, man.
Yeah, but
good times, man.
If you ever want this back,
it's a damn good art book as well. You know, I would actually. You know what? I'm gonna have to play you for it again. You know, I'm gonna have to.
I know it's a damn good art book.
Oh my god, I'm screwing, man. I'm screwing. Anyway.
So you know where it is if you want a revenge match.
All right, cool. That's cool. So yeah, okay. So obviously we're kind of getting to like versus fighting. Once obviously you've kind of had experience already with running the Osplay events at Mega Sector and stuff, and we're doing the Rambats and everything's popping and that, and Electronic Dojo in terms of like the dojo nights and stuff is really, really popping. There's so many players we've done because we do like the dojo battle royales and stuff. And that's kind of like, I guess, getting your feet wet into doing the bi-weekly, bigger tournaments, if you will, where people are traveling down. As I say, double beatdown again, which was who's. You know what? Let's just get to that before we get to versus fighting. So essentially, what happened with double beatdown was we were running Tekken and Guilty Gear.
Yeah, and there were so many people.
Yeah,
we had to run Tekken outside, and then the Guilty Gear side.
Yeah,
and it was a hot day as well. It was a really hot day.
It was madness because I remember I came late, and I think obviously you turn the corner to go to like GJ. I remember I've turned the corner because obviously as I'm walking up, I can hear the sounds, and I'm like, what's going on? I turn the corner, and there's like 4, 5, 6 setups outside. These big ass hefty ass CRTs on tables. And everyone's just out there, and I'm like, "What is this?"
We had old school London players come up for Tekken and all sorts of, as I said, it was like a really good day and a really good event, really. And I think because there were so many people crowded around in that corner where Global Gaming is or was. It kind of scared some people because at one point during the day, there was like we were visited. I don't know if you remember, but a couple of police riot vans came down just to see what was happening.
Yeah, what was actually happening? Yeah. I remember. Mad. But yeah, it was probably still to this day one of like my favorite events because I just think the amount of people that was there. I'd have to try and I should have got the pictures up, but the amount of people that was there, the atmosphere, like just the fact that it was outside, and if it had rained, we would have got absolutely bodied. But fortunately,
and you know what, this was going a little bit further back, but I remember saying to one of my mates, "It's like, oh man, wouldn't it be good to be able to do something like this outside?" And then the other thing we always used to like dream of was like, which we've done now, is like, just imagine playing your fighting game on a cinema screen. So obviously, we've done that now.
So I guess like we've obviously we're running for ages. We're doing plenty of events. I'm doing recording the seeds and stuff or whatever else and that. How do we get to from there and from the events? How do we get to versus fighting? Like, what was the kind of I guess the planning stages, and because obviously at that time I know there's events in London again as usual. So how do you get to the point where you're like,
with versus fighting 1 and planning and things, once again there's other tournaments happening up and down, mainly in London and things, and as I said, there's other people trying to arrange tournaments like Mobeen and things like in other locations. But one of the things I thought to myself was how the way these things are being run is not very good. And we thought, for instance, the old school system used to be for a lot of the London tournaments round robins.
Yes. And
I thought to myself, why would you run a system that has the potential of multiple 3-way ties? When any kind of, like, coming from my sort of anime convention sort of organizing things, where you think to yourself, right, you've got a weekend, you need things to run to schedule.
Yeah.
And I think back then it was notorious for some of these tournaments with round robins to run over schedule. And people got to go home. People have trains and buses.
I've been to some of them events that used to run over and stuff like that. Like,
but you can't have something overrunning like that, for like overrunning literally by days. I think some of them went, because of this round robin infinite problem.
Yeah.
And if you get two or a group in pools of people that are pretty much, or even a handful of players in a group that are pretty much of the same caliber, then you're gonna run into 3-way ties, which is what happened, and this is what delayed, and so I said, right, okay, why are we not doing double eliminations like everywhere else, like in the professional world? So then that was the format we adopted, and said, if you want to run it on time, you need something that you can actually predict and make more predictable, so you can run on time.
Yes,
we adopted that, and as you know, I mean, it was adopted for the ranking battles and the mini tournaments that we had in Electronic Dojo anyway.
So it's just like preparation for a bigger thing, essentially.
And we just kept that format because it's a double elimination, so it's not entirely unfair, whereby you're still going to loser brackets and you can still make a comeback and stuff. But it just eliminated this time wasting process of like the possibility, and it was a high probability, because this is why they always ran
so late.
So late and over time and stuff, of 3-way ties.
Of course.
So we just like said, okay, I think we're in a position where we can actually start doing something now. And something good. So and I said to Justin, let's look around for a venue and scope out a few places, see what it's like, see the prices, because back then we only just started out and we've only got a small pot, so it's not as if we couldn't get like what's established for the past couple of versus fightings like that. So we had to look around and whatnot, and we picked the Irish Centre.
And it was obviously, for the time, it was a good venue, to be fair. Like,
for the time is and for our first debut.
It was essentially the first one, really, wasn't it? Like,
I think it was good, a good choice. And obviously, I knew that you need to start off small. You can't just have massive dreams and just go into like the NEC or something like that, because that's just not realistic. So I knew we start off small. You then feed that back into the community and into the scene, and then you make your next one slightly bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's what's happened. Basically.
So because that's, I guess, in terms of like the staffing and organizing it, I guess it was generally like you, Jason, because I think I had, weirdly enough, I only came on. I remember like Jason was like, I think obviously because I do design work and stuff for my everyone, like Jason was like, oh, you do. I remember he came over to me one dojo night. He's like, oh, you do design work, and I was like, yeah. I'll do this on work. And then it's like,
and now
you do like the
for all this time.
It's literally like, can you do hold on, let me get it. It's like, can you do the poster for versus fighting? And I was like, all right, cool. Because at the time, I'm young and fresh, like didn't know what I was getting into. So, and like, it's part of the scene that I'm part of. So I'm just like, safe, whatever. So like, this was the first versus fighting poster in 2010. Like mad. I remember doing it, and then I was doing all the other extra bits because we had the some of the times of the tournaments and all that other business and stuff. And in terms of like how did the obviously in terms of like consoles and stuff, was it more a case of just using, because again back then there was no sponsors, there was no
sponsors and stuff, so it was every at that point it was like everyone chipping in, like it was an actual community thing where people were chipping in, and people were like bringing their consoles for the setups. So just so we could do this, we'd talk around and goes like, borrowed monitors from Global Gaming as well, and all the rest of it, and my console, everyone, Simon's, basically at that point, like all the regulars were contributing, so it was quite wholeheartedly a proper community scene.
Like a full community effort, like 100%.
Community effort.
And I think for like one of the first, as far as I'm aware, one of the first like majors, shall we say, outside of like London. It was
outside London.
It was like really well received, and obviously the London players came down, organized came down, and all the rest of it. And like for the first one, it was just like like we. One of the famous quotes from there was it. No, I think that was a dojo. Was like, we need more Bob experience. That's all I remember. And I feel like that came from versus fighting. And shout outs to Izido in the chat as well, because I'm sure he placed in this tournament as well.
I think he did. I can't quite remember. It's been
I'd have to check I'd have to check the wiki and whatever, but I'm sure he placed as well. But so obviously then, okay, so versus fighting 1 is done. It's out of the way. I guess how do you feel after, like, once it's done? Are you like, yes, we're gonna go again, like we're gonna continue, like take time, or
I think
initially after that?
I think that's when it we thought, okay, we've got proof of concept and it works now. We've proved it. There's been success. We can snowball it now and grow a little bit larger and push ourselves a bit more. And I guess that's what has continued up to now. And look at versus fighting now. It's like one of the major European tournaments. So it's quite amazing actually from how it started. And I think at that point, obviously, I sort of left the scene because I started focusing on myself and stuff, and Justin took over. And he's once again, shout out to him, hats off to him, because it's hard. It's not as easy as certain people think it is, and it's not just a case of wham bam, everything's done. It's a lot. It's a lot of planning. It's a lot of bullshit to think about, and all the rest of it. Where you're going to get all this stuff from? Who's going to help you? Venue size, capacity, all the health and safety regulations to go with the running of the games. What's going to clash with what? All just this kind of stuff.
I've been there. We've all been there. We've all been there. To be fair, and I don't envy Justin one bit. Like,
absolutely.
I could, what he does, I couldn't do. So like, again, it's shout outs to him all the time. But then again, what I do, he couldn't do. So I'm sick anyway at design. So but but for real though, like it's mad to think that like in 2010 or even before 2010, because obviously versus fighting, but the start of what you, Jason and C, essentially kind of brought to us. I guess like people are eternally grateful, because without you deciding, okay, I'm gonna try and bring people together in this location, I wouldn't have even turned up at Mega Sector.
Yeah, and I think one of the nice things about it is that a lot of people that are still friends today wouldn't actually be friends if they never actually met up.
100%, like 100%. Like, I say, if I hadn't gone to a Mega Sector with Alex that one day and saw you guys playing the fighting games, like we wouldn't be friends now. We wouldn't be friends. I think like the bonds that we have as like, you know, certain groups and stuff, it's testament to, I guess, essentially what you brought together. So again, thank you. Like,
so yeah, I mean that's good enough for me, because even now, I mean, I'm not really one for like the social media and stuff, so I stay out of it and live or not. And some people, the people who know me at like VSFighting, walk around.
Yeah.
You know, the people who know me, but and that's kind of how I like it, really. Justin's more than welcome to have all the limelight. I prefer just to, like, you know, sit back and relax now. I'm off for this shit anyway.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm too old for this shit as well, man. But for real, like, obviously, it's, I guess, just on a personal level, like what you, Jason, and C kind of built at the time has been such a big part of like my life. Just again, because me just playing fighting games, but being able to find a place to play them, and at the end of the day, you didn't have to. You didn't have to kind of put it upon yourself. You know what? I want to create this scene. You didn't have to put it upon yourself to say, okay, well, there's this tournament here, but I want to do it better. You didn't have to do that, and like you did it, and like what is come from that is just been, it's been amazing, really.
But
man. Like,
I think, once again, going back to what I said, I think a lot of it was sort of just being at the right time in the right place, because back then, the era of arcades was dying out. Online gaming wasn't a thing, really. So people were still looking to play games with other people, but they had nowhere to do so. So you know, on that sort of turn of arcades fading out and online gaming not being as it is now, then it was just sort of at that right era where people were coming out from the arcades but still not being able to do anything, and thinking to themselves, I want to play, but there's no one to, you know, you've only got like your small circle of friends, and you to get better, you need to play other people. So that's one of the things that worked in our advantage, really. That it was still quite very much an offline thing than compared to now.
As you say, back then again, is mainly like offline. Like if you was gonna get games, it would offline. Whereas now, obviously, the landscape has changed dramatically. Where like
completely differently. You know, it's completely different now. Everything's online. Obviously, the major tournaments like VSFighting and things still going to be like in person. But yeah, the landscape has changed, and I think it'd be very. The reason why I think we were lucky at that time, and the reason why I say that, you know, it's like we were just there at the right time, or I was there at the right time doing that kind of stuff, is because I think if you tried it now in this era, it'd be much harder to get people out.
You
know, because they're like, why do I need to go somewhere and pay to play? And
when you can play at home,
when I could just sit online and
and some people prefer like just the grind on ranked. And I think the fact that like a lot of the games nowadays have like pretty good like netcode and stuff, that it allows you to get consistent good games online generally. So it's like the need, obviously some people still want like the offlines, but generally a lot of it. So how do you feel like that has changed? Like, I guess from like on the outside looking in, do you feel like it's a good thing that, I wouldn't say offline like locals and things are dying out, but I think there's more people that are happy to play online. So do you think it's been like a negative thing in the end?
I think in a way, yes. For me personally, coming from like being really OG and coming from arcades, I think personally yes, because the level of salt and salty players and stuff that you get online, you would never get that in an arcade because there was some kind of like etiquette and respect. And besides, the other thing is like if you did try to kick out like that in an arcade, you just get bodied.
Yeah.
Personally, so saying trash talk and stuff online, I think a lot of people do because there's the rage quits and stuff is a given because you've got that immunity of not being in person. Whereas in the arcade, it's like you wouldn't rate. I've never seen it, ever someone rage quit and then walk away from their 50p or their pound coin.
Yeah. Because
you know what I mean.
Pound coins are lined up on there. You just drop change on the arcade. So I got next.
So that I think that wouldn't happen. And as I said, the amounts of saltiness as well. You wouldn't get that level of saltiness in person, and you don't really see it in like very often in tournaments compared to online. But it's that sort of anonymity and sort of immunity that you get from being online, and potentially over on the other side of the world. That you get people like that.
True. So I'm just on screen now. We got some footage from the Super 8 tournament that we ran at one of the dojo nights and stuff. So I guess what would be, I'd say, like what would be like your top 3 like dojo night moments? Because I know there's been many
dojo night moments. My top 3.
I've probably got like 5 that I can think of off the top of my head as well. But like,
I think one of them would have to be the was it the ranking battle finals where Rakurai pressed pause, and he lost because of that. He lost the round.
I remember,
and he was disappointed himself. He was mad at himself for doing that. I think that was one of them. Obviously, the outdoors Tekken 6 and sort of tournament. That. And God, there's that many. I'm trying to like sift through and think. But
ones, of course, because obviously you were renowned for your Kuma, as it were, at the time.
I can't remember who it was, but I remember playing someone on, and they called me Fuckrat Kuma. I can't remember. But basically, because I was just playing like for fun and casually, and I was trolling proper with the bear, on the floor, and he just didn't know what to do. So
I just remember your Kuma, and you still use Kuma to that when you play Tekken 8, I guess. From time to time.
I mean, I don't really jump on Tekken. I still, I'm very much a casual player now. But I still mess around with Kuma. And in this one, he's actually not too bad.
Okay.
To be honest, he's actually, he's actually not too bad. Purely, but going into it, I think it's more because of the sort of how they designed the game and the whole 50-50 casino,
of course,
and all the rest of it. So, but yeah, I still mess around and on Tekken every so often. I don't really play Street Fighter. I haven't actually played Street Fighter since 4, to be honest.
Oh,
I don't really like. Yeah, I don't really like. I think no go. 6 with the drive is just.
I think like I probably played 5 for a little bit, and then I played 6 for a little bit as well. But I'm very much like a super duper casual now. So, but as I say, I'm gonna jump on the City of the Wolves beta. But so, what are your thoughts on like the I guess the newer games in general? Because again, obviously we came from like a different time in terms of were back then, like the CVS2s and all the rest of it. What are your thoughts on like the games that are coming out now in terms of
don't get me wrong, I think they're enjoyable, but because I came from an old school background and Street Fighter 2 and games like this where you had no combat mechanics. I think the issue with current games, and this is really sort of exemplified in Tekken and stuff, is the amount of like combat mechanics and geared to the casual player to give them some incentive to win and to play and think that they're not getting completely destroyed. Whereas back in the older games, man, you didn't have all these combat mechanics at all. You were upward, basically. That was it. So talking about the future of games, I mean, I'm honestly hoping that when Virtua Fighter 6 comes out, it is still classical Virtua Fighter.
Yeah. That looks, obviously it's early footage and stuff, but I think the direction that they're going with in terms of how it looks really.
It's early for it's still early days, but I honestly hope they just keep it as a pure.
For me, like I think Virtua Fighter has always been one of like the purest fighting games. Like just mano, there's no supers, there's no like additional things. It's literally
there's no supers, there's no tech weird, comeback stuff. Exactly. It is just like proper mano a mano, and I think people have referred to Virtua Fighter before as like fighting game, but chess but fighting game.
Yeah.
Because it is all about like knowing the player, knowing the opponent, and what you can actually do. Rather than once again taking it as an example, it's like you as soon as you've got heat mode and then you rush into them, it's your plus frames, puts you into seriously major advantage with the 50-50 mix-ups. You can't. It's almost impossible to tell what they're going to do.
Yeah.
So, I just hope that a lot of the fighting games don't go too far down that route. I understand that they need to make it accessible to everyone, but they shouldn't dilute it too much. Otherwise, it really does sort of lose its identity, and then it's like this is no fun to play because you're just rinsing and repeating the same thing, really. The same sort of tactic. Go in, heat, plus frames, mix up.
Just rinse and repeat essentially.
So there's none of the old school mind games and the footsies anymore. If you ask me, and that's a bit of a shame.
So I guess as I say, obviously speaking earlier, also you mentioned Monster Hunter Wilds. So outside of fighting games, what kind of games do you play now then? Like what's
outside fighting games? Monster Hunter. Always kind of liked playing Monster Hunter, being a fan of Hunter and stuff anyway. Just real casual gaming, to be honest. Final Fantasy, stuff on the Switch, Zelda, Mario, just all sorts of stuff, really. To be honest with you, these days, just whatever's around. But to be honest, I've not really been too much of a fan of the sword and sandals stuff, Sekiro and
really?
The rest of it.
Okay. I'm surprised.
Like Elden Ring and everything, because
the Souls games. The Souls
games and stuff. I just think they're all just pretty much the same. Too much, way too. As I said, way too much swords and sandals these days.
Yeah, fair enough.
And they're all the same sort of premise of like, run around and chop guy and then dodge for your life, and then chop again, and so I kind of like find it a bit boring, really. If anything, to be honest, I'm playing chess more than anything else.
Fair enough.
But other than that, just any kind of new niche stuff. I mean, you probably knew that even whilst I was playing fighting games and stuff, I used to like my sort of rhythm action games.
Yeah, 100%, yeah.
You know, back in the
music and
90s and early 2000s, your DDR and your popping and all the
Puffin
rest
music.
of it.
I remember.
So I'm kind of into all kinds of stuff, really.
Yeah, no, that's sick, man. That's sick. I think we will probably wrap up for now. Thank you. I appreciate your time. Have you got any general shout outs before we head off? Because I'm sure you want to download the City of the Wolves beta as well. So any shout outs before we go?
Yeah, sure. Well, obviously, shout outs to everyone in the Electronic Dojo community and the other OG guys that you know, some of the Manchester heads, some of the London heads, and things like that that I just don't see anymore. But I'd like to, and yeah, just, you know, everyone who's actually helped and got Electronic Dojo and versus fighting to where it is now, really. So just shout outs to everyone, really.
Shout outs to shout outs.
Yeah, that's it. But the main core is still obviously going to be the Electronic Dojo family as such.
Yes. Yeah, I would say shout outs to you because once again, like, I think without you doing what you did at the time, I say whether it was
time,
like I wouldn't be here now. Literally,
a lot of it probably wouldn't ever happened, or it would be something very, very different. I don't know, but I'd like to think that without sort of those roots, then I don't think versus fighting and the fighting scene as it is in the UK would exist as it is now either, because you know, pretty much everyone knows about versus fighting.
Yeah.
It's just that established now. But yeah, so I've got nothing more to say, really.
I know, fair enough, man.
You know, sorry if I caused, you know, people so much grief and strife and saltiness over the years because of what I did. But
I remember there was some salty times. There's some salty times at Dojo, man. There's some salty times at Dojo. But I always look back like so fondly of those times because again, I think obviously you mentioned, you know, the difference between like online play and stuff. Now I think we had to go there and play, and we had to kind of conversate and communicate and just the general vibe that was there. And so I always look back fondly of those times, and those are times where I was playing fighting games and I was actually all right. I probably weren't the best, but I was all right. But I was having fun, and that was the main thing that we had back then. So
I'm glad you are. I've always just been like, you know, media. But to be honest, I've only ever the whole reason why I did it was because I like playing fighting games. It wasn't anything else. It's just that you didn't have to be good. I wasn't.
Just enjoy playing them.
I just enjoyed playing it basically, and that's what started it. Is like that passion that everyone just enjoyed playing games.
Yeah, and I think it's important, even obviously like the landscape has changed so drastically. It's important to not lose that, you know, that fun, that passion, that enjoyment of playing these games. And you know, people get it in different ways and stuff, but at the same time, just it's important that to not lose that really and just keep playing, man. So
exactly. You know,
thank you.
Games are meant to be fun. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the bottom line. Like, songs are fun. So Lam, thank you for your time this evening. Thank you for
sorry about the technical glitches at the start.
It's so weird because we started and then it was dead and then it was like, okay, now everything's fine. So I have no idea, but
I have no
idea. Thank you for your time. Right. Thank you for, I guess, educating me as well, because again, you were here before me, and like, so it's like that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You're like top of the mountain and that, which is mad because I think probably like because of how things obviously are, like, you know, you're not really like involved, so to speak, like that in a sense. It's people. There's probably people out there, like I say, that the younger ones or the new guys to the scene that don't even know about how even though they started or the history and stuff. So thank you for kind of shedding some light on that. I would say once again, RIP Omega Sector. Way is the best venue that we've ever had way before its time. Like
it really is, and it'd be amazing if there's something like that in, you know, some company or whatever did something else. But
I
don't think that's the case now, because everything's just gone to online. Logically thinking, why would ex-teenage kid leave his bedroom?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing now, unfortunately. So, but yeah, I say once again, man, thank you so much.
Okay, you too.
Yeah, actually, you're gonna have to run it back, because I forgot what art book I gave you, and I'm screwing because that art book's sick. So we're gonna have to run that one back. We're gonna. I can't believe it was that one.
The Basara 2 hero.
Basara 2 is mad, because I went to my mum's yesterday, and because I still got a couple of my books in that there, and I saw the first one of that there, and I was like, oh yeah, this book's sick. Not even remembering.
You know what I thought about as well with these art books and stuff, and especially the gaming art books. When I looked at my collection of like the old SNK and the Capcom art books and things like that, I thought, what a shame all these millennials cannot enjoy something like this anymore, because everything is just digital.
Yeah.
And these are rare as fuck now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The books are getting rarer and rare. Like, as you can see, I have to collect books, like, because I prefer the physical. And
absolutely.
These books are out of print and stuff, and you can't get them anymore. And it's like, I'd rather have the physical. So yeah, but I'd rather have that book back as well. So we're gonna have to run it back.
You know where it is. Anytime you could pick the game. It doesn't even have to be a fighting game.
Okay.
It doesn't even have to be a fighting game.
Wow. Okay. That's big talk. That's big talk right there. but I'm gonna leave you for now. Thank you so much for your time. I appreciate what you've done for the scene, what you've done for like the Birmingham scene, for us in general. To be honest, like, you will always be like stamped in this thing right here. And as I say, you're one of the 4 kings of dojo. Don't laugh it off like you're not, because you are.
No. I just read one of Ush's things, stealing sweets. That was the moment as well.
oh gosh, I don't even know if we have time.
That's a story for another day.
That is a story for another day, definitely. But Justin literally got caught red-handed with the sweets in his mouth. But we're saying nothing about that. We'll save that for part 2. But shout out to all of them. I appreciate you, man. I'll catch up with you soon, man. Thank you, man.
Peace.
For now, guys, thanks for Lam coming on. Follow us on the socials below, Electronic Dojo, on all socials except Instagram. It's electronicdojo.co.uk. As I say, we have VSFighting. Not there. I'm going to show it here. Got VSFighting coming up this August. You know what time it is. Big games, IMAX screen, GGs, all that good stuff. There'll be further announcements coming soon. But for now, I'm off to go and download this City of the Wolves beta. Lam, thanks again, man. We'll catch up soon, man. See you later, man.
Yeah.
See you later, guys. Peace out, guys.